Hey everybody, this is Alli Kerr, women's fitness expert, and today I'm going to talk about something that I know many of us have experienced if we've ever been on any kind of diet or exercise program and we're wanting to lose weight and get to a certain goal. Maybe we start out and we're doing really good and we're moving and grooving and we're excited and we're motivated and we're seeing results. And then at some point along the way, many of us get stuck. So that's our topic for today. My weight loss is stuck. And my hope is that I can give you some tips, some tools, some encouragement to help you get unstuck if you're stuck right now. And just to encourage you along the way. And I see some of y'all are checking in now, joining us on the live broadcast. And I want to say thank y'all for joining us. And several of y'all have shared these Facebook Lives. And I want to give you a big thanks, a big virtual hug for sharing these with other people so that we can just hopefully inspire and motivate and help people everywhere. So thank y'all for sharing, thank y'all for tuning in, and thank y'all for the thumbs up and the likes. I definitely hope that this is going to be something that is a topic that will touch some people and be something that I hear a lot. So I know that it's something that we struggle with. And there's several reasons why we get stuck when we're on a weight loss program. So first, today I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why we get stuck and some of the things that are going on in our bodies, and then I want to talk about what we can do so we can get some solutions so that you can get started on those this weekend if you are in that boat. So why do we get stuck? When we first start exercising or start a new diet program, that's when our motivation is at the highest. We're just getting started, and so we're ready to go, we're geared up, we're in it to win it, and we're just super motivated. And typically, we're feeling better. We start exercising at first. We may get sore, our body may hurt, or we're starting on the eating plan. We may have cravings. We may just be really struggling, but we're motivated. And then we start, our bodies start getting used to, if we're doing an exercise program, we start getting used to the exercise a little bit. We're not as sore. We start having more energy. We start feeling better. And that's when our bodies actually, there's a lot going on. When we start changing our eating or changing our physical activity, and especially when we're changing both at the same time, there's so many things going on, not just the things that we see when we step on the scale. There's so many internal changes going on in our body. Our moods get lifted. Of course, our energy gets better. Our blood pressure gets better. Thanks for the hearts and the thumbs up, y'all. And our sleep typically gets better, and sleep is when our body repairs itself. When we do the most repairs during sleep. So when we're sleeping better, that's going to help us to have even more internal and external changes. So exercise helps to increase sleep. We sleep harder, deeper, and we get more benefit from that. Other things going on inside our bodies when we start an exercise or eating program, of course, our blood pressure may be dropping, our cholesterol, our blood sugar may be more stabilized, and there are things happening with our joints and our muscles. Our muscles are changing. They're getting stronger, hopefully, if we're doing some strength training. And our joints and our ligaments are being tested in ways that they haven't been tested maybe in a long time. And so those are some physical changes going on in our bodies. So there's so many changes going on. And if we've gone from not exercising and not eating a certain way, and most of the time when we make a change, we're like ready to go from 0 to 60. So we don't like gradually, work our way into it. We just dive right in. Even if our body's not ready for that, we're diving in because we are motivated, by golly, and we're ready to get results. And so we go from 0 all the way to 60 when we first start. And our body doesn't have time our joints don't have time to adapt and get stronger in that amount of time. All the internal changes that are going on. So sometimes one of the biggest things that can get people stuck or a setback can be, oftentimes people get stuck right before they even get started. They may get really, really sore when they first started a workout program, and they may not want to come back because maybe they got sick their first day, because again, their body wasn't ready to go from here to here, and so they maybe just didn't feel so great. So they may just, right out of the gate get frustrated and off track. Sometimes people have an injury when they start an exercise program because their body was here and we said, oh, let's go to here real quick. And so our body was not ready for that change that fast, or that stress, that new stress that it wasn't used to. So sometimes we can have some injuries that can slow us down and cause us to not be as mobile, not be as active, and that can really get us stuck. some people, one of the things that I do when I work with clients is I measure them. I don't just look at the scale, because one of the things that I've learned over the years is all of our bodies are different, and how my body responds and how my weight loss responds to exercise and how yours or hers or his response is going to be different. And for women, one of the things oftentimes, and this is going to be sound something that I never really thought of until I really started working with more and more women, and this is one thing that I've seen is our bodies are on a cycle. And women, we have a cycle every month, and one of the things you really don't want to weigh right before that time, because that is when our weight is going to go up. And for most women, they get their biggest weight drops after their cycle each month. So many times they can get frustrated, and they may be frustrated and say, why is the scale not moving? And it's just because of what's going on in their body with that normal rhythm, that normal cycle that us ladies have. So that's another thing that sometimes can get people discouraged. That's just a temporary thing. But as far as inches and weight, one thing that I've seen over and over is I will have some clients, they will come in, and I like to do monthly measurements and weigh-ins. And let's say the first month they may drop 5 pounds. And then the next, but say they don't drop a lot of inches, because I do both. I'm going to measure them and check their weight and their body fat. So they may drop 5 pounds, but their inches may not change a lot. Then the next month, I may measure them, and their weight doesn't drop a lot, but their inches drop like 5 inches. And it's their inches caught up with their weight. And that is, sometimes women, they'll drop the same amount of weight, the same amount of inches, and it's pretty consistent. And other women, theirs goes 1 month it'll be inches, 1 month it'll be weight, 1 month it'll be inches, 1 month it'll be weight. And that can be frustrating if you're just getting on your scale every morning and you're looking down at the number and you don't see all the changes that are happening. And yes, I see. Thank you, Avi. Yes, about don't rush into exercising. Yes, we want to get going, but we don't want to rush into it. Thanks for y'all's comments. I really appreciate it. And one of the things that I see with women, as far as when I'm doing their measurements, is that can change. At the first, and I usually work with women over an extended amount of time, and that's really where we can really learn their bodies month after month, and I can track. And I always say the proof's in the pudding. We can really see what's going on month after month. So I feel like tracking is very important. We're going to kind of talk about that later when we talk about how to get unstuck. So when I'm tracking their measurements and their weight, their inches lost and their weight loss, I can learn their body, and I can learn their rhythm, I can learn their cycle, and then we kind of can know what to expect, and we can tweak their food and their workouts to make sure that they continue seeing progress without getting stuck. And they're able to see the whole picture of their body fat, their inches, and their pounds. And also we talk about, one of the things that I always ask clients when I meet with them is, how are you sleeping? How is your energy? How is your mood? How are you feeling? Because we want to look at all of those things when we're looking at how we're doing and how our progress is as far as getting on this exercise and eating journey. One of the things that we tend to do sometimes when we get motivated, of course we're really pushing ourselves when we exercise, and we're new to exercise and we're new to a program and we really want to see results. We'll push ourselves and we'll work out harder, because again, we want to really go from 0 to 60. Then reality kind of sets in, and sometimes over time, the longer we're in a program, we start making subtle changes, and we don't realize that we're making those changes. And what I mean by that is, we may start picking up a little bit of those liquid calories we had cut out, and we don't, we're like, well, I've just had like 1 Coke today. We start some of those things will start creeping in, and we don't even realize it's happening. Maybe we throw a little bit of extra oil on our veggies or a little butter on this. Maybe we just start adding some things back in. And sometimes it can be subtle, and we think, well, I'm doing good. I can afford this. And just those little subtle changes, those things can, over time, they can start adding up, and they can either have us stuck, or even worse, they can have us going backwards. One of the things I want to say about being stuck is not the worst thing in the world, and because there is a worse alternative to being stuck. We could be going backwards, and we could be gaining weight. So there is some celebration in being stuck, because we're not going to be stuck forever. Hear me say that. Thumbs up. We're not going to be stuck forever. So at least we're not going backwards, and when we do start moving, we're starting from stuck spot and moving forward, rather than going backwards and having to start way back here and then trying to move forward again. So stuck is not always a bad thing. One of the questions that I love to ask ladies, just to kind of get an idea of how realistic our expectations are when it comes to weight loss or seeing changes. I'll ask a lady when I'm sitting down with her, I'll say, okay, so when was the last time that you were at your goal weight? And I mean, oftentimes it's 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you know, it could be longer. And then I'll ask them, what time frame do you feel like is a reasonable time frame that you can get back there? And it's always interesting to see, you know, I was there 20 years ago, but I want to get there in like 2 weeks or 2 minutes. And that's, you know, how reasonable are our expectations? One of the questions that I like to ask is, I'll sit down and I'm going to ask you all this. I want to see what y'all say. So if you are, let's say we look at a 12-month period of time, and let's say you gained 20 pounds in a year. Do you think like that? Do you feel like that's a lot of weight to gain in 1 year? I want to see y'all's answers. Do you feel like 20 pounds, like you'd be like, gosh, I gained 20 pounds this past year. Is that a lot of weight to gain in a year? I want to see what y'all say. Let me see. Anybody? All right. So I'm going to reach over here and make sure my phone is off so we don't get any ringing interruptions. Most of the clients will say, oh my gosh, yeah, that's a lot of weight. If I gain 20 pounds in a year, that is a lot of weight. And then I'll do the reverse and I'll say, all right, so if you lose 20 pounds in the next year, do you feel like that's a lot of weight to lose? And they look at me like I'm crazy. And they're like, no, I want to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever pounds. You tell 20 pounds, that's all I'm going to lose a year. So we have a unrealistic relationship with weight. We think we always gain it way too fast and we always lose it way too slow. Whereas the truth's somewhere in the middle. The good news is if you weighed 50 pounds more 20 years ago, it's not going to take 20 years to get that weight off. That's the good news. Now, however, it's also not going to take 2 weeks to get that weight off. So we've got to, you know, really look at what are our expectations when we're going into this, and know that we are going to have some months where our body's going to change more, especially when you're doing something new and it's just all new, your body's being just really challenged. And then if you kind of get into the same routine, well, when we start talking about getting unstuck, that's one of the things I want you to look at is, what are you doing? First of all, are you making any changes to your exercise routine? Are you doing the same routine over and over again? And if you're getting on, let's say, the treadmill, and you've been getting on that treadmill, and you've been doing the same speed, the same incline, the same number of minutes, then your body has gotten pretty used to that. And that's probably pretty easy for you. Your body is not burning as many calories as it did before. And as we lose weight, exercise, like walking on a treadmill, is weight bearing. Well, if I gain 10 pounds more and I'm walking on the treadmill, it's going to be harder. And when I lose 10 pounds, guess what? I'm not burning as many calories as I did when I was 10 pounds heavier because I'm lighter now. Think about putting on a weight vest and walking on the treadmill. So as you lose weight, you have to change the intensity of your exercise to match your new, fitter, and healthier body to continue to see progress and to continue to get results. You can't just stay doing the same thing unless you're in a place where you're maintaining and you're just at your goal and you're just wanting to maintain. That's a whole different story. But when you're trying to get to your goal, you want to make sure you're continuing as your body changes and gets stronger, that you're challenging yourself. So if you're doing resistance training, you're not just lifting little 3-pound weights and continuing to do that, because those muscles, they change, they get stronger, and they need to be challenged. We have a lot of Pink Physique isms that we use at the Pink Physique, and one of them is you have to challenge it to change it. That's one thing that we constantly talk with our clients about. Challenge equals change. And if you're not challenging yourself, chances are you're not seeing the changes you want, and you may be getting stuck. I often see ladies on the treadmill, and it's almost like watching a movie in slow motion. And I'm thinking, wow, what are we doing here? So if you're on the treadmill and you don't have joint problems and you're feeling good and you've been exercising for a while, one of the things, if you're not doing intervals, I would recommend to get you unstuck is to start adding some intervals. And a recent conference that I went to, they were looking at the different intervals and what they've actually studied, which ones get the best results as far as cardiovascular-wise and as far as weight loss and fat loss. And what they found is doing a 4-3 combination times 4 is a really good interval workout. So you would actually work really hard for 4 minutes, and then you would go moderate to light for 3 minutes, and you do that 4 times. So that would be a total of a 28-minute workout. So during those 4-minute bouts, you're just really pushing it. Now, that's not where I recommend you start if you're new to exercise, because again, you can't go from 0 to 60. You want to get your body used to exercise, and then this is for someone who's been exercising and they've just been doing maybe that steady state cardio and they feel stuck. then this will be a way to start kicking it up. And you may even want to just do this once a week at first, just to add it in, and then maybe add 2 days a week of the interval training to allow your body time to adjust to that new exercise. And before I go on to the next tip for getting unstuck, I just want to, again, just say thank y'all for, I see several other people have joined in. Hey, Craig Hill over in Louisville, Georgia. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank y'all for the thumbs up, and thank y'all for sharing this. I have been so appreciative of you. I know, Alexis, you're watching. You've always shared these, and I really appreciate that. And it really, I'm hoping that this will help you and also help others. So thank you so much for sharing the videos. I'm also going to repost a 2-day diet, a free 2-day diet at the end of this Facebook Live. I'll post it in the link above, and that is just another tool to help you. You can go there and just download that diet, my gift to you. Just download that, and that will be another tool for you to maybe help you get unstuck. So we are going to talk about food next. When we look at, we talked a little bit about the exercise. I do want to talk about one more thing with exercise. We touched a little bit on resistance training. Women in particular are afraid to challenge themselves when it comes to weight training oftentimes. And we're afraid that we are going to bulk up or look like a man or something scary and crazy. And we are not getting the metabolic workout that we could be getting and the benefit. As we age, once we start hitting our 30s, we start losing muscle tissue. And that means that as we lose muscle tissue, we start replacing it with more fat, squishy, soft, jiggly, saggy tissue. So weight training is very important, and it also increases the amount of fat that we're going to burn. So if you're wanting to get tighter and leaner, it's very important to be doing not just cardio exercise, ladies and guys, but also definitely, ladies, do resistance training. And for me, I like to either separate my resistance workout from my cardio, or I'll do my resistance first and then I'll do my cardio second, because I really want to be able to challenge myself and push myself in that resistance workout, because I know how important that is to me getting to the results that I want and maintaining those results. Now let's switch over to food and talk about why people get stuck when they start dieting. We talked a little bit earlier about we start on a plan and we're really diligent. Man, we are watching everything we put in our mouth. Maybe we're using a tracker to Fitbit or some kind of tracker. Maybe we're tracking our food. Maybe we're doing a food journal when we first start out, and we are just motivated and diligent. As we start going, and again, sometimes success, there's nothing more motivating than success and results. But sometimes we can also get complacent when we start getting kind of in our groove, and then we start, well, I won't log today, or well, I won't log this week, or well, maybe I'm going to reward myself. I've been doing so good. I think I'm going to have a cupcake this weekend, or maybe I'm going to have some extra alcohol. And we don't even realize that we're doing those things because we're not being accountable. And one of the things about tracking is it really holds us accountable. There have been multiple studies done on people that do food logs versus people that don't food log, that are in a weight loss program. And every study that I've seen, and if you see a different one, please let me know, but all the ones that I have seen and looked at and read, the people that are in the food logging, food journaling group always get more results. They always lose more weight. They always lose more inches. They always lose more body fat. And that's that accountability factor. I'm a big believer in food journaling and food logging if you're trying to get to a goal. Now, once you get there and you're in maintenance mode, there's not necessarily any need to do that unless you just want to keep doing it. But if you're really wanting to lose weight, or if you've been losing weight and you've gotten stuck, one of the questions I would ask you is, are you tracking everything? And I mean everything. And you may only need to do this for a few days just to see what's changed. And most of the time, people, when they start tracking, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice I had started adding that in. And so they'll just write down everything they're eating, the times they're eating, and even their workouts. What are they doing for their workouts? How did they feel? How did they sleep? Really just taking an assessment of what's going on, so you can really look at what you're doing and see, is it the same that you were doing when you were getting results steadily before you got stuck? And have you made some subtle changes that might have attributed to you being now stuck? So one of the tips that I really want to impress upon you today is, if you're not doing a food journal or a tracker, to do that. I actually had a lady I met with yesterday, and she had a Fitbit on, and so I was asking her about it and what she tracks, and she tracks her steps. And she told me, she said, and I said, well, how many do you normally get a day? She says 10 to 12,000. She said, but some days, like if I get to the end of the day and I'm at I'm not at 10,000 yet, I'll go run around the house till I get to 10,000. And I thought that was awesome. I was like, well, that is holding her accountable. And then one day a week, she just doesn't wear it at all, which is Sunday. She just kind of takes that day off. But I thought that was really neat that tracker, otherwise she may not realize, oh, I've only gone 8,000 steps today, versus we don't even notice those subtle changes if we don't have some kind of accountability, some kind of something to track, whether it be a food log or a wearable device, or having a coach that's holding you accountable and checking up on what you're doing that you're having to kind of answer to. That's another thing that can help people to make sure they get unstuck. Another thing that I want you to look at, if you are stuck and you're like, look, I'm doing the food log, I haven't changed anything, my exercise is challenging myself, I haven't changed anything there, but I'm still stuck. Another thing that I have women always look at is, are there any changes to any medications that you have made since being stuck? So maybe you were seeing progress. Did you make any changes to your medication? So take a look at that. That's always something to look at, because unfortunately, there are medications that can affect our weight loss progress. And so, thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't know if that's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but it's definitely one of those unfortunate things. It's very frustrating, and sometimes we have to have those medications. And, I know for me, that's a struggle for me, dealing with Crohn's disease and prednisones and, steroids and things that's a big struggle. And medications, wow, that's a toughie. But one thing that can help, I know that helps me, is just being aware that how that medication can affect me. And I just know that I have to be extra vigilant in my efforts to, sometimes it's all about stopping the bleed and not letting things, that maybe that medication is going to affect you this much, but maybe you make it only affect you this much instead of this much by changing some things that you're doing. So I hope that is some tools that help you today. So I want you all to start tracking if you're stuck. Start looking at your food log, tracking your workouts, change up your routine. If you're not challenging yourself, pick up some heavy weights, ladies. As long as your body's used to it, don't just stay with the same weight. Once you've done that and your body's used to it, you want to keep growing. You got to challenge it to change it. So make sure you're challenging yourself. Look up above. I can't post it yet, but after the live broadcast, I'll be posting the link for my free 2-day diet. So if you need some different food options, a way to change it up, that may be just the thing that'll help you get kind of that kickstart to get unstuck and get you on your way. Happy Friday, and again, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for sharing. Thank y'all for the likes. Thank y'all for joining in and commenting. If I didn't I saw some comments come up, I'll definitely answer those, so just check that out. And I appreciate y'all reaching out to me and giving me inspiration and ideas so that I can help you more. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And don't forget about the link up above. Grab the free 2-day diet. See you next time.